Hi, CC. I'm Kaylyn Lee, a reporter for The Emerald. Today we are here with Mr. Wilson. Are there any prerequisites or a recommended background for students that are interested in this course?
No, there's not prerequisites. It's a really good opportunity for sophomores to take an AP course for the first time. There's not a lot of AP courses that are available for sophomores. And it's also a really good foundation for U.S. history. We always look at these variables and how they impact the United States. So it's a good opportunity to look at our society, United States society, and compare it not only to other places in the United States, but other places in the world. So for sophomores, it'll give them good perspective when they take U.S. history and then civics or AP government and politics. And for seniors, it's exciting because in going to college, a lot of the education is going to be current events based. And this subject is very much based on current events. We look at, for example, in the religion chapter, something that's going on now in the world is a conflict between Israel and the Palestinians in Gaza. So we'll look at the historical foundations of why is that happening now, what has happened in the past, why is Israel a country, and how religion and economic development plays into that issue.
Wow, okay. And could you explain a little bit about the key topics or units that students will cover in AP Human Geography?
Yeah, so we follow a textbook. It is a subject where we are literally going to read the whole textbook. And so we'll look at it in each chapter. The first chapter is about some major concepts like maps and mapping. Why do we have maps? How does physical geography play into the subject? And then health and population, as I mentioned before, migration, culture and social media, language patterns throughout the world. So for example, why do so many people speak English? So French, Spanish, Portuguese, and so a lot of it relates to colonialism. Religion, ethnicity, and race, that's a really exciting unit because we can see how different societies regard ethnicity as a major difference, or like in the Western Hemisphere and other places, race being such an important factor in society. Political geography, food and agriculture, development, industry and energy, services and settlements, and urban patterns. So it's almost like everything about everything, I think.
That's such an interesting fact about AP Human Geography. Could you describe like the class format? Like, does it lean more towards project-based or is it more tests and homework?
We try to pace it out. We work on projects for each unit. There are presentations for each unit where the students will always present as a group. So for example, currently we're talking about migration. So they worked on different refugee countries of origins, why people are leaving certain countries because of wars and famines, natural disasters. And they're going to present on immigrant groups that have come to the United States. So we'll do presentations. We'll also focus on questions and prompts that will be on the AP test at the end of the year, and films and podcasts. And so yeah, each class we try to break it up. I think the most important part of the class is trying to make it as interesting as possible so that students really look forward to what they're learning and also getting to know each other better and experiencing the class in a positive way.
Would you say that is more like group project-based assignments or more individual aspects?
It's usually a combination each class. So it will be some sort of film or podcast that will talk about a current event, working in pairs, sometimes working in groups, presentation. There are tests at the end of each chapter usually, and the tests are formatted like an AP test would be, so that people can get familiar with multiple choice questions and also the types of prompts that they'll see on the AP test.
For a fun question, Would studying AP Human Geography be an advantage if you were placed in an unfamiliar island or a city?
Yeah, and it would be an advantage, and it's also a subject that can get people really excited about traveling and seeing the world, because you could anticipate if, for example, we were traveling in the Middle East, that there wouldn't be bars and liquor stores, and we can anticipate some of the cultural differences. I also really like it because it's a way of linking human society and looking at humans and how similar we really are. But we have various circumstances. Something I think is really exciting is how much the field changes, especially with archaeology. For example, discovering the so-called lost cities of the Amazon, that there were complex cultures in the Amazon, that there are complex cultures in Africa that often go overlooked in traditional school.
And for our last question, are there any common misunderstandings about AP Human Geography that you would like to clear up?
I think the most common misunderstanding is that it's a study of simply geography or maps where countries are. We study where countries are, but a large topic is why they're even countries in the first place and why the borders are where they are. What are some of the historical factors that have set the borders of those countries and how those borders affect us?
Thank you for your time for this interview, and for the Emerald, this is Kaylyn Lee.